It's 11 p.m. on a Wednesday. You're sitting in a dark parking lot outside an AutoZone, engine off, phone screen the only light in the car. Your car started making a noise 3 days ago that it definitely wasn't making before, so you finally got around to Googling it. The forums say it's probably the alternator. About $180 for the part, maybe $300 all in if you take it somewhere. You sit there doing the math, and the math just doesn't work. So you close the app. You start the car. You drive home and tell yourself it'll probably be fine. 6 weeks later, you're standing on the shoulder of the highway at 7 in the morning watching your hood smoke. Tow truck is $150 just to show up. You miss work, and when you finally get the diagnosis, the alternator didn't just go. It took the battery with it, and now the starter is shot too. What was a $300 fix is now a $1,600 problem. And that's before you count the shifts you missed, the Ubers you needed just to get through the week, and the fact that you're now behind on everything else because of one thing you already knew was wrong. The worst part? You knew. You sat in that parking lot and you knew something was coming. But knowing and being able to do something about it are two completely different things when your account is sitting at $60. That's not a bad decision. That's a trap. And the thing that makes it so brutal is that it's not just cars. Once you see how this works, you're going to start seeing it in every corner of your life, and you're going to realize it's been running quietly in the background for a long time. There's a concept called the poverty premium, and here's the basic idea. The less money you have, the more you end up paying for almost everything around you. Not because you're spending carelessly, because you literally can't afford the version that would actually save you money. Start with something as boring as toilet paper. If you've got $50 to spare, you go to Costco, grab the giant pack, and your cost per roll is maybe 40 cents, done for 2 months. But if you're tight right now, you don't have $50 to lock up in toilet paper. You've got $4. So you grab the small pack at the corner store where the cost per roll is closer to $1.50. Same product, same toilet paper. You're just paying 4 times more for it because you couldn't buy ahead. That's the broke tax on toilet paper. Now multiply that across everything in your house. Laundry detergent, paper towels, soap, canned food, diapers if you've got kids, especially diapers. Every non-perishable item in your life, you're buying the small version at the expensive price because you don't have the cash to buy smart. And it doesn't stop at groceries. If you live in a lower income area, there's a decent chance you don't have a real grocery store close by. You've got a convenience store with marked up prices, or you're spending bus fare and an hour of your time just to get to the place with normal prices. Your phone plan. If you can't buy a phone outright, you're in a 36-month carrier contract paying double what you'd pay on a prepaid plan for the exact same service. Your medications. If you don't have good insurance, you're paying retail on prescriptions that people with better coverage get for almost nothing. It's not one thing. It's every single thing, all at once, every month, quietly bleeding you in ways that are almost impossible to track because there are too many of them. That's the system. And it doesn't care that you're already behind. Now let's talk about your bank, because this one genuinely makes me angry every time I think about it. If you've got $15,000 sitting in checking, your bank is warm and friendly. No fees, no hassle, maybe some perks. They treat you like someone worth keeping around. Now imagine you're down to $30. A subscription you forgot about auto drafts for $35. You go negative $5. Does the bank reach out and ask what you want to do? No. They approve the charge, and then they hit you with a $35 overdraft fee on top of it. You borrowed $5 for 1 day, and it cost you $35. That's somewhere around 700% interest if you do the math. If a person on the street offered you that deal, you'd walk away. When your bank does it, it's just called standard policy. And this isn't edge case stuff. Last year, banks collected tens of billions of dollars in overdraft fees, almost entirely from people with less than $1,000 in their accounts. The people who can least afford it are the ones keeping the whole machine running. The rich collect interest. The poor pay it. Same bank, same logo on the app. 2 completely different experiences based entirely on your starting balance. That's not an accident. That's the design. Then there's what happens when you need a car. And in most of this country, no car means no job, and no job means no car. And that loop is where a lot of people get stuck for years with no clean way out. If your credit is damaged and you've got no savings, you end up at one of those buy here, pay here lots. They put you in a high-mileage car worth maybe $4,000, sell it to you for $9,000, and finance it at 28% interest because of your credit score. Over the life of that loan, you might pay close to $15,000 for a car that was worth $4,000. And here's the part that really twists it. That car is probably going to need a major repair before the loan is paid off. So now you're still making payments on something you can't drive, trying to find a way to get to work, thinking about how to afford another car on top of the one you're still paying for. You never even got a clean shot. That's what this does to you. It doesn't just cost you money, it costs you the chance to ever get ahead of it. Here's the piece that ties all of this together, and I think it's the part that most people miss. When you are genuinely worried about money, not I should invest more worried, but I don't know how I'm covering rent worried, your brain literally operates differently. People who study this have found that real financial stress measurably kills your ability to think long-term. Your brain goes into emergency mode, and it uses almost all of its energy just surviving the current week. There's not much left over for strategy or planning or making the smarter call 3 months from now. So when someone in that situation takes out a payday loan at 400% interest, it's not because they're bad with money. It's because their brain is running on empty, trying to solve a problem that's due on Friday, and the payday loan solves Friday. The companies behind those loans understand exactly what mental state you're in when you walk through the door. That's not a side effect of their business model. That is the business model. The system is not broken. It is working exactly as it was designed to work, and it works best on the people who are already the most exhausted. So here's where things actually start to shift. And I'll be straight with you. The way out doesn't look the way most financial advice makes it look. It's not an investment strategy. It's not a side hustle that flips everything overnight. The first move is a buffer. $1,000 that you do not touch. Not for takeout, not for something you want, not even for something that feels urgent. Not unless it's a genuine emergency. I know $1,000 sounds like a weird place to focus, but here's what that money actually does. When your tire blows, it's an annoying Tuesday instead of a week-long crisis. When your car makes a noise, you actually get it looked at before you're on the side of the highway. When a charge hits you didn't expect, you don't go negative, and you don't get the $35 penalty on top of it. That $1,000 doesn't just sit there. It stops the system from taxing every single stumble you make. It's the thing that finally breaks the loop, and once it exists, the math starts working differently. You can buy the bulk pack. You can raise your insurance deductible because you have something to cover it, which actually lowers your monthly premium. You can fix the small problem before it becomes the expensive version of itself. Having money, even a small amount of it, makes everything cheaper. That's the part nobody tells you. The buffer isn't just savings. It's the first move that stops them from collecting on everything. Getting there means being almost unreasonable about it for a while. Sell the stuff you don't use. Pick up extra hours. Eat boring for 60 days. Not forever, just long enough to build the wall. Because once that wall is there, you're not playing their game anymore. You're playing a different one entirely. After that, you find your biggest structural leak and you go after it. Not your streaming services, not your coffee. The thing that keeps sending you back to zero every time you get close to something. The high-interest debt. The car that costs you in repairs every other month. The thing that keeps resetting the clock. You plug that hole first, and then you move to the next one. And you stop asking whether you can cover the monthly payment. You start asking what something is actually going to cost you over the whole time you own it. That's how they hide the real number. They get you focused on $280 a month, so you don't notice the $14,000 you're going to hand over for a car worth $6,000. Zoom out. Look at the total cost. Because when you can see the whole number, you stop falling for the version that's designed to look affordable. Here's what I want you to actually sit with. Every one of these things. The overdraft fees, the bulk pricing you can't access, the 28% car loan, the payday loan, the $300 fix that turned into $1,600 because you couldn't handle $300. None of it happened because you made bad choices. It happened because the math was already working against you before you ever sat down. The penalties exist specifically for people in your position. They are built into the system on purpose, collected at scale, and they are most expensive for the people who can least afford to pay them. That's not a theory. That's just what the numbers show. And that also means that when you understand exactly how this tax is being collected on your life, you can start making decisions that stop feeding it. You buy the buffer, you plug the leak, you zoom out on the total cost. You stop being the customer they built this whole thing for. You didn't get into this because you're bad with money, but you're not getting out of it until you understand the math they never taught you. Now you do. If this hit home, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Someone in your life is sitting in a dark parking lot right now, doing math that doesn't add up, telling themselves it'll probably be fine. Maybe they need to see this instead. I'll see you in the next one.